ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged match, and this is me coming back after a month. I am a month behind on wrestling reviews, and I apologize, man. The world is kind of crazy right now, and my life has been no different. But especially so for some of the things that, I had to deal with. Back at it, though. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on wrestling reviews from a month ago. They're a month ago. If you've heard about them, you've heard about them. If you haven't heard about them, you probably don't care anyway. So I'm going to run through some of the older ones. I'm starting back all the way at SmackDown at 3/6/20, and this was the very last week before they started doing their no crowd shows. The coronavirus hit. Obviously, things went crazy, and so they had to really change it up. And so this was literally the last week. The next SmackDown was the very first crowdless show. So this starts out with a moment of bliss with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, and they bring out the NWO, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, X-Pac. They get interrupted by Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura. A lot of jaw-jacking going on, of course. And you kind of know that the NWO is not really going to get into a squabble here. Braun Strowman comes out, he clears house. They've had this feud with Shinsuke, Cesaro, Zayn, and Braun Strowman for a while. So they're building up to Elimination Chamber is what's going on there. So Lacey Evans and Naomi then take on Sasha Banks and Bayley. And I don't remember this being a very memorable match. I think it was decent from what I remember. But I mean, I don't know that anything really grabbed my attention out of this, if I'm being honest. Sasha Banks and Bayley, they take up the win. You get an XFL ad after that. That went nowhere. Hey, twice Vince McMahon bombed on a football league. Then you get Kayla interviews New Day, and I don't exactly remember, and I'm not really going to go back and look at every single skit and every single interview from a month ago, so we'll just move on from that. Bayley and Sasha Banks cut a promo. Then you have Apollo Crews and Chad Gable. And I do remember this. This was Sheamus had this feud going with Apollo Crews and Chad Gable. And Chad Gable's trying to team up with Apollo Crews. And Apollo Crews is like, dude, I'm doing my own thing. So I do remember that bit. And it was all right. It was fine. Then you get Sheamus versus Apollo Crews, which was a demolition. Sheamus in every match in this whole series, they just made him look like a monster. And I love that. I think he does look the part. So, yeah, no problem there. Sheamus gets the win. Then you get Drake Maverick, Drew Gulak, Daniel Bryan bit. This is where Drew Gulak is jaw-jacking Daniel Bryan, saying he knows how to beat him, yada, yada, yada. Eventually, that comes to a part where Daniel Bryan challenges Drew Gulak for a match at the Elimination Chamber. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville with Dolph Ziggler in corner versus Carmella and Dana Brooke next. And I don't know what they're doing with the whole Mandy Rose, Otis, Dolph Ziggler thing. I really don't get what they're going. And maybe eventually they're going to have Mandy Rose stick up for Otis. Right now, as it stands today, it looks like that's what's happening, but you can't really tell. But Dolph Ziggler, of course, he's causing a distraction. Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville get the win. It is what it is. I will say Carmella has gotten better at matches. Definitely. Kayla interviews Baron Corbin. He gets interrupted by Elias. These two have had this feud brewing for a while now. No big deal. I'm not a fan of Baron Corbin. I've been very outspoken about how boring I think he is. Not only as a personality, but in the ring, and that's just my opinion, and that's what it's going to be. Firefly Funhouse. This is Bray Wyatt talking about his match with Goldberg. I don't know. I think this was actually the go-home show. So yeah, this was building up the Goldberg match, and as we know, it's left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So, that being said, You get a tag team gauntlet match. You have the New Day versus Heavy Machinery. Right off the bat, Heavy Machinery knocks out New Day. Then you get Heavy Machinery versus Lucha House Party. Again, Heavy Machinery takes the win. Then you get Heavy Machinery versus Usos. Heavy Machinery takes the win. Heavy Machinery versus Miz and Morrison. Heavy Machinery takes the win. Then you get this Dolph Ziggler, Mandy Rose bit where they're talking about, is Dolph Ziggler worried about the match with Heavy Machinery? He's like, no. And so it becomes Heavy Machinery versus Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. And at this point, I don't know how I feel about this whole feud, especially at this point a month ago. This is like when things were just kind of initially brewing and you really didn't have a good grasp of what's going on. And today, I still don't know how I feel about the feud. So, that just says a lot. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode get the win, of course, through heel tactics. And it just, I got to be honest, man. If you're going to do something like this, you got to have a payoff at some point. And I don't think they've had a payoff yet. So that's just my opinion. So, SmackDown, the go-home show to Elimination Chamber. I just don't feel like it was very captivating to me. It's cool to see the NWO, but you're not really going to do anything with them, and we know that. I don't know, dude. Sheamus, I like that segment, but they had a lot to do with Mandy and Sonya and Otis, Heavy Machinery, and Dolph Ziggler. And really, that was a lot of the show, because you had the tag team gauntlet match. You had the Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville match, and then you had a couple of bits in between there. And I wasn't really sold on it. So I think overall I have to give this show a 4 out of 10. It wasn't really that great to me. It didn't pull me in, especially for a go-home to a pay-per-view show. It just wasn't there. So that's where I'm at. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you enjoyed this. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz, Kaged Nation, out.